What's happening?
Good afternoon or morning, depending on where you're laying your head. North America.
North America. I think it's a little chilly, a little bit everywhere. I'm bundled up here myself. Actually, I had to crank the heater up this morning. Now.
Yeah, my furnace has been on for 3 weeks at least.
Yes. What's good, man? Appreciate you guys jumping in. Welcome to our Tuesday Honey Badger Nation agent attraction conversation. Obviously, we can dive into anything else, business, personal, fitness, whatever the heck you guys want to talk about. Feel free to throw it into the comments. Again, your go-to resource for everything is honeybadgernation.com. Al, what's good, man? What do we have coming up?
What is good? Well, I don't know if this is good, but I mean, the temperature of the recruiting calls that I have every single week is starting to change a bit. And it's not getting better. I guess it's getting better for recruiting. So that's, I guess, if you want a silver lining on it, that's the good news. The bad news, and even this morning, I've had 3 or 4 calls already. You know, unfortunately, it's the same story. I had a lady literally was in tears because she was like, "Hey, I was running, I was running ads and stuff like that, like for the last 2-3 years. They worked great, and all of a sudden, they're just not working anymore. The funnels that used to work didn't work." She was specifically running pay-per-click on Google. And her business, she's just like hurting financially bad.
Sure.
And then the next call after that was actually a coaching client that I had back in NAEA days when I coached, and dear friend, same thing, hurting. And so that's kind of the direction I have, kind of a similar to you with all the coaching calls you're on. I'm not on coaching calls. They're more like counseling calls. They're like here, go ahead and sit on my couch and tell me to start with your childhood type of calls,
Yeah.
And really just, I'm seeing a lot of fear, and but the good news is we can help them. That's what makes me happy, is that I feel, satisfaction in the fact that we've created systems and coaching and the touches that we have here available for people to dive in, get connected, stay inspired. Because fear's just, it's fear's bullshit. We know that it's what we allow our minds to go into those places. And I've been there, man. I know you've been there. It's just not a fun place to be, and getting that clarity, getting the agents that I've been having these calls with to, give them hope. And once they have some hope and understand that there is light at the end of the tunnel, but it's going to take work, but we're there with them doing the work. And so that's kind of what I've been, seeing this week, leading into a short week here, with Thanksgiving and everything. I do have a lot to be thankful for. It's this amazing community of givers, people that I'm learning from every single day. And I'm just eager to bring more people into the loop that want to learn as well.
Yeah. And I think what you said right there, because there's a lot of people listening in that are probably nodding their heads. And the very first thing that I would push to encourage people is what you said about gratitude. The struggle ends when gratitude begins, and really not losing sight of all the things that you absolutely are truly grateful for. And when you do that, it puts a lot of things into perspective. But I think what's happened is a lot of people are really becoming paralyzed because they don't know what to do next. And the things that used to work for them over the last few years no longer work. The reactiveness, people coming my way, living on hope. As we know, hope is not a strategy, and it's not going to work for you. So really getting down to understanding, okay, what is required of me within my control to do on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis. And, to your point of fear, there's only two things that we're hardwired, from birth that we're fearful of. And that's the fear of falling and the fear of, loud noises. Other than that, it's all made up. It's all just fugazi. It's not true. And so I think that's where having a good or even a great framework of how to think and think more accurately. And I know we've talked about it on here. I've talked about it. I gave everybody a copy of the book in Pittsburgh for kind of the book that I always give out at KT. And I gave Outwitting the Devil. Mm-hmm. That's kind of to Napoleon Hill's point in the book. It's all about accurate thought. And what he talks about is that 98% of the population gets into a form of drifting. And that's mostly done by fear. And the only way to overcome that and overcome fear is to have a framework of how to think and think accurately, accurate thought.
John, dig into drifting. There's people that are listening to this call. I know that I get a lot of great feedback from it, but really I want everyone to get this because this is so relevant to right now. That book, everyone should read that book. And you should read it 2 or 3 times, to be honest. And in fact, it might be one of those things you read annually. But explain to everyone that doesn't understand, they've never read the book, drifting, what specifically that means. I mean, you could say your mind's drifting, this and that, but like in the context of Outwitting the Devil, go a little deeper on that.
Yeah, I think, to his point in his story, when you step back and you look at the principle that he's really diving deep on, and it's around accurate thought. And, you look at what he wrote in Think and Grow Rich, and he wrote this right after, and it obviously didn't get released until 2010, 2011 with Sharon Lecter when she took over the Napoleon Hill Foundation. But he was just emphasizing why he said, and he did the 17 laws of success, that this was the number one law of success, is to think accurately. And he said, anything that is not thinking accurately is drifting. So if you're getting caught up in other people's narratives, if you're getting caught up in other people's stories, if you're consumed by what the media is telling you, if you're on somebody else's agenda, you're not on your agenda. If you're reactive to everything else in your life, you're drifting. And that's really, it's like, okay, am I thinking accurately? And the reason that most people don't know how to think accurately is they don't have a framework to be able to think accurately. And that's where mental models and the concepts of mental models really come in. And, Charlie Munger is probably, at the forefront of this and everything that he talks about in all of these frameworks. And so you even look back at, okay, catching yourself is, okay, hold on. And you hear us talk about it all the time. Everybody listening to this, what's the goal? Is that really the goal? Or has the goal changed? Is this within my control? Is that true? Is that absolutely true? And really getting down to the root of it and being able to think that way. But in the simplest of forms, you're drifting if you're not thinking accurately. And if you're caught up in somebody else's whirlwind, if you're caught up in somebody else's agenda, if you're caught up on somebody else's schedule, right? The day's running you're drifting. And so it's really about, okay, how do I get to being more proactive? I think a lot of firefighting, putting out fires every day. I don't want to be a firefighter, man. I don't want to fight fires. I would rather be in the fire prevention business than the firefighting business. And that's creating systems and processes. That's what's lacking, right? They don't have a system. They don't have a process to think accurately. And they lose sight of that. And so they get caught up in the whirlwind. They get caught up with whatever the wind's blowing. And that's really where they end up. And Al, you know this, getting consumed on somebody else's narrative, on something that's not true, is the fastest way. And you know, sickness causes that, poverty causes that. And that comes back to a human need. And I've shared this with you. You know, one of the things that my coach taught me was when you're living in the smoke, and it's all the bullshit, it's all the excuses, it's everything else everybody gives us, that's the smoke. And you think about it, most people don't die from burns, being burned alive. Most people die from smoke inhalation. And if you stay up in the smoke, you're going to get choked out. So you got to get out of people's smoke. And it's all the noise, all the nonsense, all the excuses they give you. And you got to get out of that smoke, and you got to get down to the fire. And that's why, you know, man, I would just much rather be in the fire prevention business than the firefighting business, and get down to, okay, what's the real root of the issue? What's missing here? And right now, in what you're hearing from agents in these conversations, what it is, the human need, they don't feel safe. That's what's happening. They don't feel safe financially. That's why they're behaving the way they're behaving, and they don't have a mental framework of how to think accurately. And more importantly, they're probably not in the right environment or ecosystem to allow that. And we've seen it all the time, right? It's like, and it starts at home. And if you don't have a significant other or a partner or you know, a tight-knit group that's challenging you, holding you accountable, and not questioning you and holding you back, that's that environment. That's why environment is everything. It's greater than your willpower. I mean, it dictates your thinking, it dictates your thoughts, which leads to your feelings, and it leads to your actions and inactions. So I think being like, why we love this community so much, I mean, it's the Honey Badger Nation for a reason. And being able to be in that environment that's going to challenge the way you think, and being in that environment that's going to hold your butt accountable, and really put the mirror up in front, and not let you, you know, living, looking out that windshield, pointing at everybody else.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And I mean, you know, it's even harder to do these days with all the noise, especially, you know, I don't want to bring politics into this, but like even all the political noise, there's never been a time in history that I'm aware of. And I've been fortunate enough to be on this planet for 50 years, and I've never seen the obnoxiousness of the different sides and noise politically. And why I think that applies to what we're talking about right now is because it's all fear.
Mm-hmm.
The purpose that both sides do it is to keep you in fear. If they can keep you in fear, they can control you. But if you're not afraid, then you have nothing. There's nothing. There's no constraint in your mind to stop you from thinking accurately, like you were saying. And what a lot of it boils down to is the truth. In order to get to the truth, you actually need facts. These things are called facts, and even those can be distorted in one way or another, you know, based upon, you know, their belief systems and whatnot. And so you really need to practice that exercise of thinking accurately. And so sort of brings me to another topic I want to bring up, since, you know, everybody has questions. I can't really see them. I'm sure you probably can see them.
We'll get into it. We got a question about the book and the book funnel, but we'll come full circle back to that. You keep rolling here, because I think what we're talking about is more important than anything else, because if you don't, it's the inner and the outer game, right? It's the tools. It's like the Honey Badger app. It's the book funnel. It's the hooks. It's the offers. It's all of that. That's the outer. But if you ain't got the inner game dialed in, none of that matters. Like none of it matters. None. I can give you the best framework. I can give you the best calendar setup. I can give you the best tools, the best hook, the best processes. But if you ain't dialed in, if you ain't got it on point, none of that stuff matters. And what you're talking about, what we're talking about right now, is so important. And for people to get, and not get caught up in the narrative and get caught up drifting.
Yeah, there's lots of narratives. I'm going to touch on one of the narratives right now, and what I'd like to make a somewhat of a bold statement to say, if you have some recruiting issues, you need to focus more on production. You need to focus on getting yourself and other agents productive. How do you do that? You plug in. You plug into the environment, and then you get your other people plugged into the environment. There's a lot of chatter going around about another competitor that's just emerged and people leaving EXP. Listen, people have been leaving EXP since I joined EXP. It's going to happen. They leave. Agents do that. It's part of what happens. And now we have 90,000 agents versus 4,000 agents. When I started looking at it, when you and I both started going down the rabbit hole looking at this, and of course, there's going to be a higher percentage of attrition once we have, well, not a higher percentage, but just a higher number. But the percentage remains basically the same. Mm-hmm. So I want to address that in a second. And can I share my screen?
I think you got to be able to put it in, and then I can share it up here. So I think if you go to present, if you hit present, it'll bring it, and then we can throw it up.
All right, let me see if I can share this. Where is it? A window. Here we go. Preview. Let's see if this works. Did that? I actually texted you the slide that I wanted to show.
Can you email it to me?
I did. I emailed it to you a couple minutes ago.
You emailed or text?
Both.
Oh, you emailed it. Cool. I got it.
Yep.
Here.
Maybe you can share it.
I can. I'll pull it up right now.
So anyone that's out there that, if you're focused on growing your organization, obviously we have all the tools that you need. Rapid Funnel, the Honey Badger app, go to honeybadgernation.com. But if you are, then you might be experiencing some attrition. I know we have, a lot of people have. And I want to just show everybody this chart, okay? Because it's very, very telling. And what it states very clearly is that almost 80%, 8 out of 10 agents that are leaving EXP right now, they're not doing any business. 0 to 2 transactions annually, 80% of them, okay, are really not doing any business. And so you got to also look at, so is the fact that they're not doing business causing them to jump, or are they going to not do business anywhere they're at? Most of them aren't going to do business no matter where they're hanging their license. So I think that's one truth. And what we're talking about is accurate thought here and how this is weaving into accurate thought. Facts are facts. These are the facts that I'm putting up to you for you guys to look at right now. 80% aren't doing any business. Then you look at the rest of the 20%. 13. Okay, so more than half of the rest, more than half of all the rest of that 20%, 13% of them are doing less than 7. Now the average is, I think, 4.5, 5 transactions, across the board in the US anyway. The average agent will do some of that, but that factors in the tens of thousands that do nothing, and the very few that are doing a lot. So it's the numbers skewed a little bit when you're thinking. When you think of averages, they're not very accurate, because if you were to just toss out, the number of people that are doing 0, then that number, the average will go up a bit. Okay, but these are the facts right here. So what we want to focus on are the top 20% who are doing business. So when we talk about our avatar, when we talk about the agents that we want to work with, they're typically not in that 80% that are leaving. Now, will we work with new agents? Absolutely. We've worked with plenty of new agents and helped them be successful. But this is the distinction I want everyone to make. The people that we will work with in this area, the 78, the 80% that are doing 0 to 2, the ones that we work with, they have the mindset of the other 20%. They have the mindset of a grower, of a doer, of an implementer. They're committed. And we can't help anyone that's not committed. So what we're finding is that 80% that are moving on, if you're losing people, just know that 8 out of 10 of them are not committed anyway. One of the things that made me want to quit the real estate brokerage business was I was beating my head up against a wall trying to get people that were not committed. I can't want success more for another agent than they want it for themselves.
That's right.
It's an impossible equation to solve. All it's going to do is make you more frustrated. So
It's a
it took
game
a
you
while
can't play.
to like realize like this frustration is coming from a false belief. And I did have this false belief that I can make anybody successful. That's a bunch of bull. That's ego talking right there.
Mm-hmm.
Can't make everyone successful. They have to want success more than you want it for them. And if you don't have that missing piece, if they're in the 80% of people who are not committed and they don't have a committed mindset, then you're going to be beating your head against the wall. You got to let them go. It's okay. They're great people. You can still love on them, as Brett Gove says, love on them from afar. But the problem, if you're going to pour energy into them, you only have so much energy. You only have so much time. It's our biggest constraint is time.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to differentiate your people from your committed to the non-committals and be okay if they leave. Okay. It's going to make time in your schedule for the people who are committed. And, you know what? I think what we'll do is we'll post that up in the Honey Badger Nation, and we'll just let that simmer among the group. Okay. And then they can use it and send, because it's just, those are the facts.
It is the facts. And I mean, that's part of, accurate thought, great decision-making is, one, what are we talking about, right? Getting all real crystal clear on the words, that we're all speaking the same language. And the second factor you want, what's the data? What's the facts? What's the numbers? Like, show me. And, I know we've all kind of done this when we've lost team members. We've always paid attention to what they've done. And obviously nobody's done this better, as relentlessly as our buddy Blake Sloan. But, Blake, every person that ever left him, they never did better than when they were with him. And that's usually what happens, right? That we see. And it's, they're not committed. You can help them. You can give them the framework. You can, help them get clear on their goals. But there's, there might be a season of their life they're not willing to commit to what is required to be successful in this business right now. And that's okay. Cool. Like you said, like what Gove says, I'll love you from afar, but I just don't have room for you in, my time. I'm glad you said that too, right? Because and people forget to put the math equation to what that time is worth. And, as Clayton Mask always told us, right? B players are who you spend time with instead of your family.
Yep.
Always.
Any other questions, John, you could see in there?
Well, the one question was just really around the opt-in around the book and the book opt-in. So do you have any kind of feedback on the book funnel, opt-ins, being able to the deliverability?
I do. So the good news is I saw a report that was sent to me yesterday, actually over the weekend, and the book funnel is performing just off the charts beautifully. Now, there was a little glitch that I believe is fixed, and that's all you. The glitch is that the way we had this set up is, first of all, if you don't know what we're talking about, we have a book funnel that you can use as a top of funnel, okay, that is built right into the Honey Badger app. And it's an actual opt-in that will automatically deliver an electronic copy of $1 Million Follow-Up for Real Estate Agents by Jay, Coach Burt, and myself, that gives them a digital copy for free. Everyone can offer this, okay? And I'm gonna tell everybody when we're done chatting here about how to do it the right way, because a couple people in our Monday Mastermind group crushed it with the book funnel. And I'm going to share exactly what they did. It's so stinking easy. But before I do, basically, this is how the funnel works. You have an offer now. If you didn't have a top of funnel offer, you do now. The book funnel is one of the most powerful funnels that internet marketers have used for years to bring in top of funnel new business, basically, okay, into their funnel, and it's free. We're giving it away for free, and the purpose is that what we're doing is, Frank Kern calls it moving the free line. John Sheplak calls it making deposits. Whatever you guys want to call it, but this is a value item. It's a value add to your recruits, to people that you want to attract, to people that follow you on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. And so the best example I found of this is that one of our honey badgers up in Canada, who just follows the system. I mean, we talk about it all the time. We always bring up Dan Hillsman, like Dan can walk on water, and I'm pretty sure he might be able to. But Dan follows the system. Right now, we have him. He's our guinea pig for a system that we're testing out right now with recruiting, and he's just following the system. Big shocker, right? And so doesn't try to recreate the wheel and build the bike over again. He just follows it. And so this gentleman up in Canada made a post on Facebook. He did not put the link up. All he did was write a simple post, and it said something like this. This isn't exact words, but hey, I'm not sure about all of you, but I know in looking back over my career, I've left millions of dollars on the table because of my lack of follow-up. Mm-hmm. I do a good job with the lead generation, and then maybe even getting a lead here and there that seems somewhat warm or hot. And because I don't have a system to follow up with them, they fall through the cracks. I've lost listings because of it. I've lost buyers because of it. And all that's now changed because I have an amazing system. If you'd like a free copy of the book, $1 Million Follow-Up for Real Estate Agents, just leave a comment down below, says, get me a copy, and I'll make sure I get it for you. So much better in doing it that way versus just putting the link up and say, here, go to it, right? He's actually getting people to raise their hand in the comments, which helps the algorithm with Facebook, and it identifies the people who want it. And now the beauty is that you can now start putting those names into your rapid funnel and sending it, or just sending the link. It's even easier than that. You don't have to put their names in. Just send the link to the top of funnel, and they're going to fill out the form, and they'll go automatically into your rapid funnel. Yeah. Now, what happens after that is we have a campaign set up, and the campaign is specific to the people who get the book. So I think the first email that they get is about the book, or it's probably the link to the electronic version of the book. Then they're going to get messaging, and then the email campaign that kicks off after that is the highest opened. When you talk about open rates, like if you're getting 20%, 25% open rates, I mean, that's pretty good. 30%. These are in the 70s. It's really an unheard of open rate on these emails. And they're all value based. There's no selling. It's all value based. And there's a call to action at the bottom. Hey, schedule a call with me here. Boom. Goes right to your calendar. As long as you have it set up, it'll go right to your calendar. And so the results that we got, the feedback that we got from our mastermind group on Monday has been nothing short of amazing. And we're going to see more of those success stories as we move along, and just kind of tweaking it and this and that. So go to honeybadgernation.com, click on the rapid funnel, download it if you haven't gotten it yet. There is a free version, and then of course there's a paid version as well. This book funnel is in the paid version. So that's all I wanted to share.
Love that.
Questions?
Just to clarify, you said rapid funnel, that is the Honey Badger app. So yes, when we're saying rapid funnel, Honey Badger app, we're saying the same thing, but the Honey Badger app has all of our content and has everything already in there for you. So it's important. Just go to honeybadgernation.com, just click there on the app, and it'll get you to the right place of where you want to be. I do want the book hasn't been getting delivered on my side. I emailed support, so I'll just have them look into it.
Yeah. I will actually run that up the flagpole as well. That should not be happening. It should automate. We tested it, and when we tested it, it was working. If there's been a glitch in that one, we'll get on that right away. So in fact, I'm going to screenshot that and get it over to our team and get that fixed.
Cool.
Thank you for letting us know that one.
Yep, absolutely. The one thing too, I want to, because you hit on a few things, but I want to put it into some simple buckets for everybody, because I think overwhelm causes, the state of paralysis, if you will, right? Becoming paralyzed. And within business, it's only three things, right? There's a constraint somewhere. Once you know the goal of what it is you're trying to accomplish, obviously getting, clarity is the first step. Where you're at, where you want to go. Obviously, there's a big gap. You need a plan, like what you're talking about. Like Mr. Dan Hillsman is following a plan to close from where he's at, where he's wanting to go. He's not trying to innovate. He's imitating. He's following the path. He's following the plan. But when you know where you're at, where you want to go, you have that goal. It's only three things. It's traffic, it's conversion of that traffic, and then it's fulfillment of that traffic, meaning you're getting them the results that you promise you're going to get them. And so you step back and you look at what you talked about, the statistics we showed. If you're having a problem retaining people, you nailed it. Production is retention. And that's the only way you're going to get agents who are willing to do the work required to close a transaction in today's market. That's the level of commitment. And I would say you're looking for the people, the ideal team player Lencioni talks about is hungry, humble, smart. I would say disciplined. I would say trusting the process. They're coming in, they trust your process, and then work their ass off. Hard work. I think it's those three things. I think hungry, I would say starving. I would say humble, which means coachable in my mind. I would say people smarts, emotional intelligence. Then it's like, am I disciplined? Do I trust this process? And am I willing to put in the hard work? That's the people you're looking for. If not, next. That's your magic word, next. So that's fulfillment, is getting the results. Okay. I think a lot of people, especially honey badgers, people on this call, there's a difference, right? We're honey badgers, there's honey badgers, but there's the committed. And I think you guys are committed to getting the people the results. So let's go back to traffic and let's go back to conversion. Traffic is what you just talked about, utilizing the tools and the things available to get more agents. The conversion is where most people are struggling.
Yeah.
And it's two conversion points that people need to be aware of.
I mean, that's why we have our Thursday calls with Wally for conversion.
Yeah.
There isn't anyone I can think of off the top of my head that could coach you better on how to convert a lead than Wally Bressler. And, I invested, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars into coaching to have access to Wally, his training for years. Before I was a coach and got to work with him, I learned from him, and he helped me and my entire team convert more leads than anything. So, we have him for you to help you become a better skilled professional. And the question is, are you tapping into it or are you not?
And it doesn't matter, Al, if it's buyers, sellers, investors, builders, or other real estate agents. What Wally teaches, and for you guys, we teach principles. We teach things that travel. They travel in locations. They travel in any market climates. They travel to whoever you're having a conversation with. It's principle driven. And the conversion point is engage lead to face-to-face. And it could be right here face-to-face, or it could be knee to knee. And then you've got to be able to articulate your value in a presentation format to where they believe that you have that path to proactively manage all the variables required for them to achieve the results they're after. And if you're working with buyers and sellers, there is nothing better on the planet than CHSA, CHBA, period. I'll put it up against anybody. I don't care. Bring me somebody that has 30 years experience, that has had a lifetime of coaching and training. Are they badass? Are they masters? Yes. but I would still put CHSA, CHBA up against it every day.
You got to get out of the mode of overthinking it, getting ready to get ready. You need to fall in love with the boring. I mean, I can't emphasize it enough. I mean, I do sit here and I'll just be transparent with you. I mean, there's days that I have 8 or 9 or 10 calls, recruiting calls of agents who are they're getting on that call for one reason. They have a problem.
Yeah.
And they're seekers. They're out there seeking the solution for a problem.
Right.
Sometimes that solution's underneath your nose. You just completed, by the way, congratulations on another 100-mile race, brother. I don't know how the hell you're walking right now, but amazing feat of just grit and focus and consistency, because you can't complete that race without being consistent in your preparation and doing the boring stuff every single day, and then getting up in the morning the next day and doing that boring shit over again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not like I'm on these calls and like I said, full transparency. Sometimes I'm like, God, I'm looking at my schedule and then I'm like, I could have it a lot worse. Right? I'm up there in Ohio. It's raining and like 40 degrees or whatever it is out there, 45, 50 degrees. It's not fun. And my home is being remodeled right now, inside and out. And I glance out the window, and Amish are the best carpenters in Ohio, or Amish build stuff. So the Amish have been really building all the outside structures and everything. And I see what they're doing. I see what the bricklayers are doing. And I just had a whole new level of love and appreciation for our business and what we get to do. And we're not out there, in 40-degree weather, rain, laying brick, building, these structures, standing up 30 feet high in the air with no harness. You fall, you're going to the emergency room. Like, we don't have that as agents. We just have to do the boring shit every single day. We need to make our calls every day, sit in our desk, do that over and over again, call our database, love on them, check on them, tell them, hey, is there anything that we could do to help you? Not asking them for business, but offering to help them in whatever way. And it's really that easy and simple, but we overcomplicate it. We don't stay consistent with it because we get bored. And then we start to drift, which goes back to the beginning of our conversation with Outwitting the Devil. So get that book.
Yeah. Get the book. I love it. Yeah. I mean, it is. I mean, it's developing that skill set and just that commitment. But it does. It starts, winning the battle in your mind, and then, really getting down to doing the things daily within my control, no matter how boring. But it goes back to discipline, trusting the process, and putting in the hard work, period.
Yep. All right.
Brother, I appreciate you. Always great catching up. Thank you for sharing those statistics. Let's get that into the Honey Badger Nation. All of you guys, thank you for tuning in. If you need anything, hit us up. That's what we're here for. honeybadgernation.com has all of your go-to resources, links. If you have not gone through CHSA, CHBA, it's access right in there, honeybadgernation.com. Get in. Almost every conversation that I have an agent conversation with where they're struggling in articulating their value as part of the offer, CHSA, CHBA answers it every time.
I'll be putting it in the comments for the new people that are just joining our community.
Yep. CHSA is certified home selling advisor. CHBA is certified home buying advisor. It is the process of being able to take from a conversation all the way through somebody saying you have the best system for us to help us accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. Where do I sign? It is that part of the process. And a lot of agents haven't had to have this part of the process over the last 3 or 4 years. It's been very reactive, but you've got to be able to articulate your value. Value unarticulated is value unappreciated. And in the absence of value, people question price.
On that note, we do appreciate you, Honey Badger Nation. Love you. We're thankful for you. Have a happy happy and safe Thanksgiving with your family, and know that we are thankful for you. This is why we're here.
Absolutely. Awesome,
Cheers,
brother. Love you. See you guys.
Have a good one.
Bye.